Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Barry Watts with WealthCare has the strategies you need to plan for a successful retirement. Whether you're planning for retirement, saving to live out your dreams, or looking to grow your wealth, Barry has resources to guide you every step of the way. Barry and the team at WealthCare develop customized plans to help you achieve your financial goals. Welcome to Watts on Wealth with Barry Watts.
Hi, I'm your television host, Ralph Hipp, as we welcome you into Watts on Wealth, the TV show, the show that helps you plan the retirement you really want. Today, Barry Watts from Springfield's WealthCare Corporation, right there at Highway 65 and Battlefield Road, is right here with me. We'll talk about helping protect your income from some of the risks that are out there, some of the risks that you might be not see coming at all. And in today's Steps to Retirement Success, Barry goes on to share the financial habits that we all should be breaking and breaking fast. So Barry, from the radio right to the TV, good to see you again, my friend, and how are you?
Thank you, Ralph. I'm doing well, and I'm delighted to be here. We're going to have a fun time on the show today.
Well, one big question we want to ask on the show today is your retirement able to resist a sneak attack? That sounds pretty ominous, Barry. What kind of sneak attacks are we talking about? We don't want to be attacked in our retirement.
Well, there are any number of things, Ralph, that can sneak up on your retirement and erode its integrity. Not the least of which is the fees that you pay to have your account managed. Sometimes people will say to me, I don't pay any fees.
None at all?
You really believe that? You think that financial company that sends you your statements every month and manages your account does it all just to be neighborly and there's no profit motive? Truth is, Ralph, everybody pays fees. And there are two kinds of fees: the obvious ones that may appear on your statements or in the literature, and the occult fees. Occult just means hidden. So the hidden fees that are assessed against your account that you may not know about and really would have great difficulty even finding out about. So Ralph, I've been doing this for 31 years, and I'd feel comfortable saying that 90% of financial advisors don't know about those hidden fees or even how to find them. But I assure you that they're there and you're paying them. So at the WealthCare Corporation, we help people ferret out those hidden fees so they get a true, real picture of what they're paying for the service they're getting. What we find is that people are paying more than they know, and in many cases, they aren't getting very much in the way of service for what they're paying. It's kind of similar to inflation that can sneak up on your retirement. Stock market losses can sneak up on your retirement. And those are the kinds of things that you want to know about. You want to know somebody's watching out for you and monitoring your portfolio. And it's protecting against those sneak attacks. That's one of the things we do for folks at the WealthCare Corporation.
Barry, it also occurs to you and to me as we talk about living to be 100 and having your money last as long as you do. Another sneak attack we may not understand is our longevity, our possible longevity. So talk about that and how it could actually be considered a pretty considerable financial risk to our retirement.
Well, Ralph, if you retire in your mid-60s, like most people, with enough money to last for 20 years, and you get to your mid-80s and run out of money, that's a really bad position to be in. And if that happens, do you know what you say?
What?
Do you want fries with that?
Because that's where you'll be working.
Well, that's exactly right. You've had to go back to work in your 80s. Now, that's bad planning. So far in 31 years, we've never had someone have to go back to work because they outlived their money. Now, we have had some people who went back to work because they didn't like being retired, which is a whole different topic. Often people will even say to me, they'll say, you know, Barry, I don't want to live to be 100, so it won't matter if I run out of money in my 80s. To which I say, well, you don't want to live past your 80s? Why don't we wait until you're 80 and then we'll review this topic again? Because in my experience, very few people, especially if they're healthy, will say, oh, I'm 80, so I want to die now. So we ask clients to plan to go to 100, and if they don't get there, that's absolutely fine. There'll be some money left for the kids.
Have there been discussions, Barry, about I want to really work on estate planning, I want to live to be 100, but if I go earlier, I want our kids and grandkids to be taken care of? Or have you also had people come into the office there in Springfield and go, well, my kids are wealthy, they don't need a dime from me, I don't want to leave them anything? Have you gone on both extremes of that? I want to leave a lot, I want to leave nothing.
Well, probably more often it's people who say, I don't want to leave anything. I gave the kids a good education, they're on their feet, and I think they'll do fine. And that's fabulous. But then what you need to figure out is, what are you going to do with all your excess money, or how much excess money are you going to have, first of all? So let's do your retirement income to age 100. And if we find out at age 100 that you're going to retire and have a couple of $1 million left, well, you know what that means? You can spend more money in your retirement.
You could.
So retirement income planning is not only to stretch your money to 100, but sometimes it's to accelerate your income to get you to spend more so that you spend all the money that you've accumulated.
Now, how do we reach out to you? And also, how do we get a copy of your book, Watts on Wealth, that just came out?
Well, I do have a new book called Watts on Wealth. I'd love for everybody to have a copy of that. The easiest way you get it is to just text the word book, B-O-O-K, to the number that appears down at the bottom of the screen. That'll be the easiest way for you to get the book, and I'll even sign it before it goes out the door next week.
Terrific. Well, it's important to have a handle on some of the risks that you might not see coming. We're talking about those sneak attacks and risks on that. And you'll want to stay with us when we come back with more of our show. Barry will talk about yet another culprit that may be launching a sneak attack on your retirement. You're going to want to see and hear what that is, and we'll be right back.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. Our current tax rates are set to expire in just a few short years. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
By the way, Barry and I hope you'll join us every weekend for our radio show. We have a great time on that show. 1 full hour of information and talking back and forth with Barry and me. It's a terrific radio show. And for right now, welcome back to Watts on Wealth, the TV show. This is his host for both, Ralph Hipp, along with J. Barry Watts of the WealthCare Corporation, serving clients right here in the Ozarks and in Springfield. On the show today, we're talking about those sneak attacks to your retirement. And Barry, you've helped us understand about the impact of longevity. If we live a long life, if we do live to be 100, there are some little sneak attacks that may pop in there. And another thing is inflation. Let's talk about that. Inflation as a sneak attack on what we've tried to save.
Well, inflation is really sneaky, Ralph. I call it the silent killer because it's just like high blood pressure. You know, you can have dangerously high blood pressure and it can kill you and you never even knew that you had it. Well, sort of the same thing can happen with inflation. We tend to buy things without considering what they cost, but if you'll pay really close attention, you'll find that every year they cost just a little bit more, and you put enough of those years together with them costing a little more, and it begins to erode your purchasing power and erode how much you can buy. In fact, the buying power of the average Social Security check has dropped. The check hasn't dropped, it's increased, but the ability of that check to buy something has dropped 36% since the year 2000. So that means that your Social Security check can only do 64% today of what it could do for you back in the year 2000. Now, Ralph, there's a famous television show that you may remember back from the heyday when you were on TV on KSBR here in Springfield. Now, you may remember the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
And, you know, we can raise our hands on the television show. How many of you remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
And do you remember who was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
It was Regis Philbin.
Regis Philbin. That's where he first
got. Is that your final answer?
That's where he got all of his acclaim.
Yeah. So, and by the way, and Jimmy Kimmel is doing the show all over again because it's been how long since 1999?
Well, see, I didn't even know that.
They're doing it again. with Jimmy Kimmel and the same basic show.
And it's interesting. I wonder if they're still doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And here's why I ask that question.
Yeah.
That show ran in 1999. So today, to have the same buying power, that show would have to be called Who Wants to Be an 1.8 Millionaire? It takes almost $2 million to buy what $1 million would buy back when it was the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. So I would suggest they need to change the name to Who Wants to Be a 2 Millionaire at least.
And I was worried, Barry, you said, who wants to be a billionaire?
Well,
so that's pretty tough.
Yeah, you got to be careful on your math. That's a lot bigger step. A million to billions, a lot harder to do than it is. Yeah. It's very easy to say. So, you know, Ralph, the problem is that a $1999 is only worth about 53 cents today in terms of what it will buy.
That's pretty sad.
I think it's a great sin. A sin committed against Americans by Congress, enabling the Federal Reserve to print money to create inflation, which erodes the power of our dollar and ultimately costs many people their retirements. What's going on in Washington is very serious, and the knuckleheads up there need to pay attention.
You know, we were also discussing that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Let's say you have $1 million, but also let's say you have a long-term health care issue with a member of your family, Alzheimer's or dementia, and something you weren't really expecting. It's at least $300,000, one-third of that million to take care of them. Barry, is $300,000, is that an accurate number? Or has the cost for long-term health care also been rising as fast as inflation?
Well, it's an accurate number, Ralph, but it's just like any number that you hear on TV. You really need to dig in and see what number they're quoting, what it means, and what it compares to. So $300,000 is what the average retired couple needs to plan on spending on health care. Now, if you think average, think about the big bell curve. The person right in the middle of the bell curve is going to spend $300,000, but there are people who are going to spend $400,000 and $500,000 and $600,000 and $700,000. Cost roughly $100,000 a year to be in long-term care in the 417 area code anyway. So that's how you can spend that money that rapidly. So we know people who it'll cost a lot more than $300,000, and you need to prepare for that. And the good news is you can. There are special tools that will help you to cover your long-term care costs, and most people don't know about those. We're able to introduce them to a lot of people at the Wealth Care Corporation.
Those special tools at the Wealth Care Corporation can help you ward off those sneak attacks that may ruin your retirement, as you're also possibly, hopefully not, dealing with long-term health care costs and just a huge sector of the healthcare financial pie. Well, here's how you can contact Barry and the team at the Wealth Care Corporation. Want to have more discussion with Barry about your problems? Do that. Call the number you see on your screen. As soon as we come back here, Barry shares the financial habits it might be good if we all left behind and left them behind rather quickly. And later on, we'll get to one of our favorite parts of the show. We'll be answering some of your questions. And we'll see if Barry says if that's his final answer. We'll be back in just a moment after this.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. Our current tax rates are set to expire in just a few short years. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
Planning for retirement can be complicated. Helping create income that lasts, making sure your health care is covered, investing while managing risk, and don't forget about taxes. If you're overwhelmed, you're not alone. The good news is we have what you need to give you confidence to start planning for your ideal retirement, all in one convenient resource. You'll get answers to some of your biggest retirement questions in this easy-to-understand, practical resource. And best of all, there's no cost to you. Take the first step toward a confident retirement and get yours today. Welcome back into more Watts on Wealth, the TV show. With Barry Watts, I'm Ralph Hipp.
So now it's time for those steps to retirement success. And in our segment today, Barry, you're going to talk about those financial habits we want to be sure aren't coming with us into retirement. So take it away.
On today's Steps to Retirement Success, I want to review a few habits that aren't helping us very much. The first of those habits is not knowing your numbers. Every day I ask people their numbers and they give me a blank stare. I ask them how much their Social Security check is and they don't know. I ask them how much they need to spend each month in retirement and they don't know. So let's think about this a little bit differently. Let's imagine asking the airline pilot how high the plane is flying and he says, I don't know. Imagine laying on the operating table with your belly cut open and the surgeon asks the anesthesiologist, what's your heart rate or blood pressure or oxygen saturation? And she says, I don't know. Every day we commit the same kind of careless malpractice with our own finances when we don't know our numbers. A good tool to start you on the journey of keeping track is a budgeting app called EveryDollar. It's free in the App Store and it'll help you to get a handle on what it really costs you to live. It's called EveryDollar. Now, there's a second financial problem that comes up, disorganization. You know that image that people have of walking in and they have their taxes prepared and they bring in a cardboard box of receipts? Well, did you know those people pay twice as much to have their taxes done because the accountant has to organize all their stuff before he can begin to work with their numbers? There's really no excuse for that. You can go to the office supply store and get a box of file folders for $10, set up files for every category of expenditure, and then just drop your receipts into the appropriate file. Similarly, set up a file for your individual bank and investment accounts, and every time you get a statement, just put it in the appropriate file. Then when you need to look something up or go to visit your investment advisor, you'll have all the statements readily available. When you come to visit our office at WealthCare, we'll send you a list of documents that you must bring in order for us to help you. And I've got to tell you, we love the people who come in well organized with every document color-coded, cross-referenced in a folder. It's so easy to help those people who come in prepared to be helped. Now, the third habit that we need to pay attention to and abandon is that habit of not paying attention or just ignoring important things. It's just sometimes easier to hide our head in the sand, but all you ultimately get is a nose full of sand. So pay attention to the debt that you run up on your credit card. Pay that card off every month. Pay attention to the fees that you are paying. Ask your advisor to help you understand exactly what fees you pay on every investment, and then after they've done that, say, is that all, or are there more fees that are hidden? That's not a very comfortable question, and many advisors will kind of try to change the subject. That in itself is a sign that something needs to be dealt with. Pay attention to your taxes. You could be overpaying because taxes are out of sight, out of mind. We typically only deal with them on April 15. Ordinarily, we save people tens of thousands of dollars a year, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime just to get their taxes right. So don't procrastinate. And there's another thing you want to leave behind, procrastination. For how many years have you been going to get better with your money? To see a retirement specialist, to make sure you're on the right path. Today is the day to get on the right path. It all begins by making a quick phone call or sending a text to the number on the bottom of your screen. Great journeys begin with simple steps. Make yours today. Back to you, Ralph.
All right, Barry, thank you. Great from over in the corner there. We appreciate that. Well, if you're a familiar fan of our show, you know we'll be back in just a minute here, and Barry and I will answer your questions on today's Q&A segment. Watts on Wealth, the TV show, will continue right after this. Don't go far. Barry and I will be right back, we promise.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work toward your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
Planning for retirement can be complicated. Helping create income that lasts, making sure your health care is covered, investing while managing risk, and don't forget about taxes. If you're overwhelmed, you're not alone. The good news is we have what you need to give you confidence to start planning for your ideal retirement, all in one convenient resource. You'll get answers to some of your biggest retirement questions in this easy-to-understand, practical resource. And best of all, there's no cost to you. Take the first step toward a confident retirement and get yours today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. Our current tax rates are set to expire in just a few short years. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
We are back to our final segment, probably one of the most exciting segments of our show, where Barry answers your particular question. Barry Watts, the main retirement designer of Springfield's WealthCare Corporation, and time to hear from you in this week's Q&A question and answer segment. Barry, here we go.
Well, I'm excited, Ralph. I love this section of our show, and the reason I like it so much is because it gives us a chance to unpack answers to many of the questions that people have asked. And I've covered a lot of those questions in my new book, Watts on Wealth, the book. That's different than Watts on Wealth, the TV show or the radio show or the YouTube channel. Watts on Wealth, the book. We've used questions from radio and from TV to help us craft the topics that are covered in the book. And I think people will find it a very interesting read. In fact, we'll send them a free copy. I'll even autograph it if they would like. All they have to do is just text the word B-O-O-K, book, to the number that they see at the bottom of their television screen. And next week, a copy of the book will arrive in their mail.
And free of charge to you all the way around, the postage, and don't have to pay for the book. I have it on Kindle, and I have the copy. I have the print copy. Some people like to read the pages, and some people like to read the Kindle.
There are actually 3 copies. There's the print copy, the paperback copy, and the hardback copy. So buy the one you don't have. Yeah, buy the one you don't have, because we want to sell as many books as possible, please.
Yeah. And I've mentioned to Barry, he said, I was glad to pay for your book. I think he ought to be paid for his brain power there, so I gave him the whole $3.
Well, that was the Kindle version that you bought for $3.
It's really not that much. And being retired, stuff like that, it really helps. But if you like to flip the pages or have the light on, read in bed in the Kindle, either way, you can read Watts on Wealth. Let's read your questions. Barry, this first one is from Marie in wonderful Ozark, Missouri. Marie's asking, can you explain, here we have a term for a definition, Barry. We haven't had that often. Can you explain the term rebalancing? And this is not your checkbook. I keep seeing it in retirement planning articles, and I don't think I really understand what rebalancing is.
Well, thank you for asking, Marie,
because
we want to help you understand. We really pride ourselves at WealthCare on helping our clients understand important concepts. And so here's the thing to know about rebalancing. Our clients in particular are typically invested in probably a half dozen of the 11 different sectors of the S&P 500. So we might own some telecommunications and some energy and some healthcare and some financial companies. And from time to time, one of those sectors will outperform the others and the percentages get out of whack. Well, rebalancing is simply taking the excess that has grown out of whack and redistributing it back to the other sectors in their original proportions. And when we do that, you are rebalanced. We do this every month at WealthCare, sometimes more frequently than that, but certainly every month. In fact, just this past week, we moved out of some sectors and into some other sectors that we weren't previously in because the market changed and we needed to rebalance our accounts to keep them on target.
Well, let's go to Springfield and our question from Jim. And Jim is asking, Jim, the stage is all yours here. How much communication should I be having with my financial advisor? I only talk to him if I reach out to him with a question. That rarely happens. This doesn't sound very good, Barry.
Well, no, it really sounds to me like Jim needs a new advisor. I mean, how much advice can he give you if he's not talking to you? But we got to give him some grace. Perhaps he's too busy playing golf. I don't know.
Ooh, ouch.
Well, I like golf, and we ought
happens.
to play as much golf as we want to. But
It's
the simple
great
fact
courses
is,
all over the area.
don't go play golf until you've taken care of your clients. I think that's really, really
That's
important.
good.
So Jim, really, all I can tell you about this is how often that our clients hear from us at WealthCare. Because in addition to our radio and TV shows, we host a couple of podcasts. So there are multiple opportunities every week to hear from us there in broadcast terms. Then every week, our clients get mail or email from us talking about things that may be important to them personally. We talk to our clients many times throughout the year as things change in their situation, and we seek to visit with them at least once per year on average to review where they are on the 6 steps to retirement confidence and make sure they're still on the upward climb and haven't fallen off the staircase. So visiting with clients is automatically built into our process. And on top of that, then periodically we host social events, Ralph, where people can get together. Maybe a Springfield Cardinals game or a show and dinner in Branson.
Those are great.
They are a lot of fun. Educational events on topics of interest to seniors. It's really humorous how often we will get there and run into an old friend. Somebody who's one of our clients comes to one of our events and they run into somebody else who's at our event, and they've been friends forever, but neither one of them knew that they were both our clients. So Jim, here's what I would say to you. If you have an advisor and they don't call you, that's a bad sign. And if all you ever hear from them is once a year, then that's a bad sign too. You're probably ready for an advisor upgrade.
Because Barry has mutual friends at the
you go.
ballpark. Mutual
There you
friends,
go.
absolutely. All right, Gary in Crane, Missouri, you get the last word here. Gary says, Gary and Barry, I'm 62. My wife wants me to retire and start getting Social Security. I'm not ready to retire, and honestly, I don't think we have enough money saved up. So he says, what is your recommendation? How should we go about this?
Well, Crane is where I kind of started my career.
Really?
Yeah, I went to first grade in Crane. First, second, and third grade. Bob Medcalf was my bus driver, and Ms. Neal, I believe her first name was Iva, was my teacher back down in Crane so long ago. We're going back 55 years. That's a long time. Only the old people in Crane will even remember that story. So here's what I want to say to Gary. You can go ahead and do what your wife wants, or you could wait a year or two and then do what your wife wants. I like the joke that says the man is the head of the house, but the wife is the neck, and she turns the head wherever she wants it to go. So I'm guessing that there is a compromise to be had, and here's how I would address that personally. Have an income to age 100 retirement income analysis prepared. And let's see if you can retire and when you're able to retire. And the numbers will answer the question of whether you have enough money saved up to be able to retire. And then maybe you can go ahead and retire, or at least reach an agreement about the date in the future when you'll pull the trigger.
Okay, Gary, good question. Thank you for all that. Well, if you want to know some ways to generate your lifetime income and reduce that big tax bill, maintain the retirement lifestyle you've been dreaming of with your wife, who is the neck and you're the head, or something like that, or she may be the head and you're the neck. Reach out now to start planning for your ideal retirement with your spouse and family. For Barry Watts of Springfield's WealthCare Corporation, I'm Ralph Hipp. Thanks for joining us. Have a terrific day and a great week and an even better retirement.